So here's the question. The folks that are not in the room, and Lena says they're doing something else. So the question would be, what are they doing? And if you're not making it for the next 9 sessions or 8 sessions, what are you doing instead of being there? Are you taking a listing? Are you writing a buyer contract? Are you showing a home? Or are you doing laundry or sleeping in? Or do you see what I'm getting at? Like, what are you replacing this time with? Doing something else. What do you suppose would be the reason to do something else?
It's more
Feel
comfortable.
this, if this not
It's not important enough.
More comfortable?
Our goal
This is
is
not
not
important
clear
enough.
enough.
Not important enough. So, if you had a listing appointment at 9 o'clock in the morning, would you blow that listing appointment off to do something else, or would you show up?
No.
Show up.
Show up. Now, I realize you guys are all the ones that are here, so I don't want you to think that I'm beating you up for actually showing up. I'm trying to draw a connection. Okay? And so, what I want to show you guys, I commend you for making it all the way through. That shows commitment, and the commitment will actually give you the benefit in the end in your business. The other half that are not here, they will also see a result. Won't they? Yeah. You have to, right? And you will see a result if you implement the things that you were taught during Ignite. You have to. It's a law. It's a principle. It's called cause and effect. I do something, it causes something else to happen. Right? If I swing my arm too hard, I'm going to knock these drinks over. The drinks are going over. I can't say, I hope the drinks don't spill. I'm taking the action, right? So today we're going to talk about qualifying buyers and sellers. So what do we mean when we say qualifying buyers and sellers?
Let's get the right questions to make sure they're ready.
Okay, ask the right questions to make sure that they're ready. And we have a video. This wasn't in my lineup, but it's here in 30 seconds, so we're going to learn together what this video is.
We're silencing the voices. No more talking me out of who God has called me to be. No more convincing me that I don't have the power to do it. You're telling me to give up, it makes me go stronger. You're telling me to back down, it makes me worship even more. Because I believe in a healer. You can tell me she's dead, that's good. He's got resurrecting power. You can tell me it's over, that's all right. Because he starts things all over again. He makes all things new.
Amen! Woo! What better way to start off? I didn't know that was what that was, and here we are, right? That was a word. That was a word because I didn't even know that it was there, and it's there, and here we are. And so that was awesome. Okay, so during this lead follow-up segment, you've talked about keeping every lead. You've talked about following up, strengthening relationships. And now we're talking about qualifying potential buyers and sellers. We're going to talk about how to find the motivated, classifying by able, ready, and willing. You guys have heard of ready, willing, and able.
Yes.
Yeah, we've switched it around. It's able, ready, and then willing, right? Because what if they're ready and willing and not able? Now you just let somebody down, right? So they got to be able. Your number one job as a real estate agent is to find ways to get in the path of the motivated buyers and sellers. You're going to get in the path. You're going to get in the way of them. All right, let's talk about finding the motivated. Dispelling myth understandings. What myths do you hold about finding buyers and sellers? What myths do you find? Do you have?
It's hard to find.
Do you know what a myth is? A myth is a belief that is likely untrue. Have you heard of the show Mythbusters? Anybody ever watch Mythbusters? Right, that's a lot of fun. Where they go out and they try to dispel or remove the myth. Do you have any myths about finding buyers and sellers?
They're hard to find.
They're hard to find. What makes them hard to find?
No, like I don't have it, but.
You don't have
I don't
that.
have that, no.
Does anybody in here have one? Do you have a belief around finding buyers and sellers?
I use the inexperience, I guess.
Say it again.
Inexperience, maybe.
An experience? Has anybody said or heard another agent? Nobody in here, of course. Has anybody ever heard an agent say, but the market is bad?
Oh, no.
Have you heard that?
Even posted.
Okay. Is the market bad?
No. Oh, market.
No. So are you saying that because you know that that's the Sunday school answer? Right? You know the Sunday school answer. Jesus. Moses. Right? Are you saying it because of that? Or are you saying it because you truly believe that it's not a bad market?
I think that it just changed the way we're used to do business and implement new things and business will come.
Yes, we just changed. So that's the main word. We are in a different market than we were a couple, 2-3 years ago. You know, it's pretty interesting. If you think about the stat, that 87% of realtors do not renew their license. In fact, they're not even here 2 years after they get their license.
How many percent?
87%. It's almost as a high failure rate as a restaurant business is.
87.
So what's really interesting about this is the number of realtors that were here prior to 2020 is minimal. So most of you, in fact, how many of you have been in the business longer than 5 years? Okay. Right? So if you've been in the business longer than 5 years, then you've experienced this type of market that we're in right now and the one that we just came out of. But so many across the land have only experienced what we've been through in the last few years. That's the frame of mind, that's the myth that the market is bad because they only experienced the market where the fish were jumping in the boat. Quite literally. That's you know, you list a property for sale and 10 seconds later you have 12 offers over list price. Right? That market, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, cars is not even real. That's not the reality of a real estate market. That is the exception to the rule. Where we are right now is a lot more of what you would call the typical market, where buyers actually have a choice and sellers who are motivated can sell. And you can actually maybe negotiate on the price a bit. Sellers who are priced aggressively. When I say aggressively, what do I mean? We always think high, right? No. When I say aggressively, that means with the market conditions. So if you do a market analysis and a home looks like it will sell in a range of 480 to 500, that means that you're not pricing it at 519.9. That's not what I mean by aggressive. What I mean by aggressive is that you price it maybe at 489.9, 499.9, right? I'm a 99 guy, so there are different schools of thought around that. There's not one that's better than the other. I'm a 99 guy, okay? That's where I go with it. Or maybe even an 88 or a 98 or a 77 or something like that, right? Because it's kind of odd and it usually gets somebody's attention. It's that whole psychology, and so there's two different schools of thoughts on it, and we don't have to go into that, but I'm the 99 guy. So when you're pricing it aggressively, it means that you're pricing it to sell. You're pricing it so that you incentivize buyers to bring you offers. If you price a home at 519.9 or 520, so we're not 99, 520, and your CMA shows that it will sell for 480 to 500, that's your range. That's not aggressive, that's overpriced. For this market. Now the market that we came out of, you would have priced it at 550. Because the market was doing this. By the time it came on the market, by the time you got the listing contract signed and you got around to putting it on the market, the sign and the pictures and the MLS and the whole thing, it had already appreciated, right? So you price it high and it'll sell for 6, right? You following me? So in that market, yeah, you would do it differently. The word aggressive would mean something different. In today's market, it means that you're going to price it according to the market to incentivize buyers to come and make an offer. I was talking to a gentleman 2 days ago. He's actually the team leader for the office that I left, still can. And he said that he put his house on the market. He put it on the market for I forget how much. I'm gonna say 500. And he received an offer the first day, and it had 2 more showings. And one of them said they were going to be bringing an offer. And he says to me, "I'm gonna take it off the market and put it back on the market higher." And I said, "Sean, you sound like a seller that's out of control. Let me get my real estate hat on here, my realtor hat, and bring you back to perspective. What you want is a lot of offers. You want to incentivize offers. A home that sits on the market is only losing leverage every single day that it's on. It means that you actually price it correctly when you get an offer the same day or a weekend. You get 2, 3 offers, right? You've priced it correctly. Does this make sense? Right? So if you ever have a seller tell you that, you understand that that's the whole point. I thought we wanted to sell the property. Isn't that the whole point? Now, is it possible that you left 10 grand on the table? Well, okay, maybe. But I don't think it's worth getting ready. What my dad used to say, a bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. Right? I have an offer. The guy says he's going to pay me $500,000. I think I can get 520. So throw that one away. Put it up at 520. Now I got nothing. I might get something. But I can get 2 somethings. Might.
Still maybe below.
Right? So in this market, it looks different. And so motivated sellers are more like, I'm willing to price it at the right price point. I'm willing to make sure that the HVAC unit is working. Right? What other myths? Are there any other myths that you can think of? What about interest rates? Are interest rates high right now? Interest rates are high. Are they high? Yes, they are going down. You're right about that. But are they high right now?
Compared to 8 years ago.
Yeah.
It's okay.
How about 13%?
Did you know that the 50-year, hit the last 50 years, the average interest rate is 7.2%? It's actually 7.2 something. I can't remember the something. 7.2% is the average over the last 50 years.
I bought a house in 1979 for 17%.
Yes.
Better put it on a credit card.
Yeah. Right. 7.2% is the average. It's all about, somebody said, perspective. Right? It is. It's about perspective, because if all you're comparing it to is the manipulated market we were in. By the way, that's what caused the market we were in, was manipulation. Manipulation by who? Huh?
Federal Reserve.
Huh?
Federal Reserve.
Yeah, the government. The market was manipulated. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong. I'm just telling you the fact that the market was manipulated by the government.
It just
I've
didn't
been-
make sense because they were overpaying on the prices of the homes. So technically, whatever they were saving on the interest rate, the house is upside down.
The house is upside down. They're paying more. In fact, we were teaching people when the interest rates went to 8%. We were showing people how they could still buy a home. We don't need to do that exercise now because interest rates are back where it's normal. But we could actually do the math and show somebody how it's better to buy a house now than it was 3 years ago. It's very interesting. I don't know if you know this, but today is the day, and I'm thinking I'm gonna probably get this text while we're in the room together. And if we are, I will share it with you. Let me see if I already have it. I don't. Today's a day where we're going to decide. The feds are going to drop the rate. So here we go again. government manipulation. Now, what would be a reason why right now, in the third week of September, 2024, all of a sudden the rates are coming back down? What might, something's coming up. How interesting. I said this 2 years ago. In late 24, we're going to see rates drop again because the election, and both parties want to be elected. So they're both going to do everything they can to try and get I think it's the only time that they agree on anything. Right? It's the election time. We better make sure that the economy is sound, right? The gas prices begin to come down, the interest rates, and right? Because they want to be a winner when they come out the other side, right? So rates are coming down, and so now it's 5 point whatever it is. And so today we're going to see if the Feds are going to manipulate it some more. They are, by the way. And we're going to see here from 10, 11 o'clock. I'm going to get a text message. We're going to know if they did or they didn't. And the rates, maybe we're going to, I don't know, maybe we're going to dip in the 4s. Wouldn't that be something? And then look at us. We're all going, ooh, ah. But 4.8 was what? 2.5, 3 years ago. That was high. Right? 3, 4 years ago, it was like, loser. 4.8. I got mine at 1.9. It's like buying a car. 1.9 for 72 months. Honda's giving them away. Okay. Where are buyers found? How have buyers found their agent? So all buyers, 47% have come from a referral, from a friend or a neighbor or a relative. First-time buyers came from a friend or a referral, 57%. Repeat buyers, 41%, came from a referral from a friend. 13% of all buyers use an agent previously for a transaction. How does that make you feel?
That's
Because of the 87% that dropped out.
No, that means that we're not taking care of them in order to be the ones that they call.
I mean, that's a good catch, Claire. But yeah, it means that we're not taking care of them. It also means something else. That perhaps they had a great experience and the agent really did take really, really good care of them, and they still are in the business. What might be another factor of why they're not being used?
They did not follow up. They did not stay in
Yeah,
touch.
the agent didn't stay in touch, and then they forgot. There was a stat. Now this stat is really old, and I haven't seen the new stat from NAR, and it was that 87% or 85, somewhere in the 80s, percent of home buyers would have used the same realtor that they used, but they couldn't remember who they are. So 13% is of all buyers, and then look at first-time buyers, because they're first time.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then repeat buyers, 19%. In fact, I don't even know how we're at 2%.
Yeah.
That's a little bit boggling to me.
Maybe the ones that they couldn't seal the deal at the first time they were trying to buy.
It could be. Yeah, okay, I'll go with that. Repeat buyers, 19%, used the agent that they used before. Inquired about a property that they saw online, 7% across the board. Inquiring about a property they saw online.
That means that we can work harder in order to kind of make him come with us, like provide more service, more information.
Let me ask you this question. Well, first of all, let me ask this. Do we all possess strengths and weaknesses? We do, right? And are these strengths and weaknesses fairly even?
No.
No?
I think
Okay.
they're more the weaknesses than.
We have more weaknesses than we do strengths?
I know I do.
Okay.
Speaking for
All right.
myself.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like that they're pretty well balanced. I feel like I'm good at some things and I'm terrible in some things, and then yeah, maybe I do have more weaknesses than I do have strengths. I don't know, But here's the point. So if I'm weak in something, like let's say, here's a perfect example of something I cannot work with my hands. So here's an example. I bought a light bar for my truck, my old truck. This is a few years ago, and I bought a tonneau cover for my truck. And I decided that I am going to do this myself because I'm capable and I'm a man and I need to do this. So I moved the wife's car out of the garage. I backed the truck in and get the tools set up. Now I want you to know that my brain sees what has to be done. I know what has to be done. I can visualize doing it. When I go to actually do it, I fumble, and I struggle. I drop the wrench, I drop the screw, I drop the screwdriver, I can't get the right angle on it, it doesn't fit correctly. My hands do not work. The eye-hand coordination thing, I'm not coordinated, right? Now, I'm not saying that to have a limiting belief around it. It's been showing up my whole life. I was playing center field in baseball. All my brothers and sisters, by the way, my brother played college ball. My sister played All-Stars, went to Hong Kong for softball. I come from an athletic family. Of course, Drew's going to play baseball, and so I get out in center field, and fly ball gets hit to me by my dad, who was the coach, and we're practicing, and I go up like this, and the ball misses the glove and hits me right in the brain. So, by the way, my brother was there watching. He was home from college, and he came to my practice to watch me practice, and I got to perform this wonderful act in front of him. Right? So it's just something that is. So here's my question: should I work harder at trying to work with my hands? Should I dive in and really go to work on being able to put things on my truck? So now let me ask you this. It came to my attention about 3 decades ago. I know I don't look that young, that old, I get it. That I'm a fairly decent public speaker. This came to my attention about 3 decades ago, and I pushed it away because I used to be, by the way, so frightened to speak in front of people that I would actually have to go to the bathroom before I spoke in public. No joke. I taught Sunday school for 12 years. Every Sunday morning, you would see me 2 minutes before Sunday school class started in the bathroom throwing up. I was so frightened. It was 35 little junior hires. And lo and behold, we had to go in front of the church and talk. Oh, gosh. That was a nightmare. But when it was brought to my attention that I was fairly good at it, then I began to practice and refine and get better. So if somebody is a 7 in something, and they work on it, and they refine the skill, what might they be able to get it to? 8, 9, maybe even. I hate to say 10 because that would mean there's no room for improvement, and there always is. So I don't really want to say 10, but someone can work on something and be better, right? So here I am going for Keller Williams University Master Faculty. I'm actually auditioning, and I've passed through 2 rounds, and this is the kid that would throw up in the bathroom, but working and practicing made it to where I didn't throw up in the bathroom anymore, and I can stand in front of a room and I can talk to you and be comfortable doing so. Because I was probably a 6 or a 7, and so I was able to work on that. Now, let's go back to me working on my truck. I'm probably a 2. If I practice really hard, and I work, and I get a coach, and I get a mentor, what do you think I can get that to go up to?
4.
Oh, 4! No, let's go for gusto. Let's go for 5!
Even 5 is 5.
5 is mediocre,
Yeah.
right? So I'm going to jump up and down and hooray and just go crazy over a 5? Or is it better for me to work on the 7 to get it to an 8 or a 9?
Yeah.
What's more productive?
Get 7. Get
Work on the strengths. We don't work on the weaknesses, right? So it's the same thing here. We look at this and we say, okay, so let's dive. Let's put some money into a website and get the landing pages going, and because that's slow. Let's improve that. Now, I'm not suggesting that we shouldn't do these things. What I'm suggesting is that most realtors across the land will focus their time and energy here. Notice that social media is not even on here. Social media is not even here. I'm going to say that today in 2024, we have a new Ignite, by the way, in January that's going to start, and so I'm sure the slide will be updated. I'm sure that I'm sure that it's on the chart, but it's probably going to be around here, around the same, right? 7, 10, 12%, something like that.
I was reading this morning, I don't remember where at, but it says that social media, to get leads and stuff like that, business is kind of dying, that we should focus on IT.
So there it is. It's dying. She says it's dying. So here's my
But it
point.
doesn't make sense, like, because
But what's the highest?
Referral, friends.
So where should we be focused to increase and do better?
Talking to your neighbors.
So it's fear, right? So I look at this and I go 47, 57, and 41. Those numbers are abysmal. Those are terrible. Okay, now when I look at all these other numbers and I compare it, I go, oh, we're doing good. No, we're not. We should be getting 90-something%. And we can, by refining and practicing, putting systems in place, actually following the model that we're teaching you at Ignite, we can get this number up. We can work our arses off of this. And we're going to move what to 12? I'm not suggesting you don't do these things. I'm saying do not do these things instead of doing this. You focus on your SOI, and secondarily, I used to tell the people that I would coach that you earn the right to do everything else. You start with your sphere of influence, the people who already know, like, and trust you. Think about it this way. You're driving down a road, a country road, and on the left side is a field. On the right side is an orchard with almonds. You city folk probably call it almonds, don't you? Yeah. Okay, so you've got one side of the road is almonds or almonds, and the other side of the road is just a field. Which one is going to produce the fruit or the almonds or the almonds first?
You don't want to know
Help
the
me.
right.
Huh?
You don't want to know the right.
Oh.
Clara says the one on the right, the orchard. Is that going to give you the almonds before the field?
Yeah.
I know, I'm being Captain Obvious. Yes, that's the right answer. I know you probably think it's a trick question. You're like, I think it's that. Yeah, it's the orchard. Realtors across the land, though, ignore the farm on the right. The almonds are asking you to pick them, and you don't even look over. Is that not you? Agents across the land. Look to the left and go, I'm going to till that thing. I'm going to farm it up. Yep, we're going to get the tractor out. Are you following me?
Yeah.
Is it important to till that farm and plant all the trees and all? Of course it is. Not at the expense of picking the fruit on the farm. Well, I guess it's not fruit, it's a nut, right? The almonds on the right. Yes or yes?
Yes.
All right, how did sellers find their agent? Okay, this is obviously a mistake. All sellers, 39%. 47%, 35% from a referral. Use the agent previous is better. Personal contact by an agent. Referral from another agent. Website is worse. Visit an open house is worse. For sale or open house signage is worse. So we have the same thing. Referrals show up as number one, right? Okay. So let me ask you, how are you keeping track of your motivated buyers and sellers?
I'm trying to use that.
You're trying to use command.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's on paper and.
I'm going to try to click the slide to the next slide.
I started.
I'm going to try. I couldn't. I'm going to try. I'm going to try again.
Yesterday, I did input two customers' name into the command. Do it.
You did do it, or you will do it?
I did it.
You did it.
I learned how to keep.
You learned how to do it, and you
then I
did it.
Yeah.
love
Let them have me.
I love it. Okay, so what do you suppose is the reason for this thing with command called opportunities?
No
To keep
fight.
track?
Do
It's to
it.
put our files, right, so that we can get paid.
If you.
No?
To action. You put on file, always the files. You have to action. Do it. Never try. No try.
No try. You do it, right? So the idea is, and we've seen you have buyers and you have sellers. So this is the same leases. Above this, you have listings and then you have buyers. And so obviously this is here to help you decide who's in, discern who's in, cultivate who you have an appointment with, who is active and who is under contract and who is closed. So this helps you with your pipeline. If you're not using some kind of pipeline, how will you know who's in your pipeline? What do you think the difference is between an agent who closes 200 units a month, and I know this agent, by the way, I know an agent who closes 200 units, not a month, a year, 200 units a year, and it's her and her son. Her and her son
Oh,
in the business, and they closed 200 a year. And it wasn't an off one year they did 200. No. It's the last 4 years in a row. They broke a record. Nobody else in this MLS has ever done, as a solo agent, ever done that many units in 1 year. What do you suppose is the reason? What's the difference between them and somebody who closes 25? By the way, is 25 a respectable number?
It's good.
It's a respectable number. Sure it is. I would say that you can consider yourself a real estate professional. Right? I can say I'm a real estate and I close 25 deals a year. What do you suppose is the difference between the two?
keeping an eye on that.
I mean, that's one, right? And there are, obviously, there's more than one factor. But I will share with you that the mother and son duo that close 200 deals a year definitely have a pipeline that they keep an eye on. Now, they are not with Keller Williams, unfortunately. They're with their own deal, and so they don't have command.
Oh.
They have to pay for something. Right? They've got to pay for a solution to make sure that every lead. And I worked with these people for a few years. In fact, I mentored and trained and coached them. And I will tell you that one thing that I noticed about them that separated them from most is that no lead ever went unchecked. Every lead was followed up on. In fact, you guys remember that slogan several years back, "No child left behind."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So for them, it was like no lead left behind.
Never ignored.
No lead left behind. And I mean it. There are agents that in the old days, this doesn't really happen much anymore because we don't have people walking through the door anymore and wanting to buy houses. I was talking to Jason about this the other day about how it used to be you would sit in the office and wait for, you'd have floor time, we used to call it uptime. You'd have uptime and you'd be sitting in the office and people would actually come through the door wanting to buy and sell real estate, and you would have an opportunity to work with them. And so some days it'd be slow. You'd be like looking out the door in the window, and then you'd go walk out on the sidewalk. Where are all the people? And so I forgot what I was going to say.
The couple, the mother.
Don't get to be 48 years old. That's what I want to tell you. Yeah, right. So if you're not keeping track of your leads, then you will lose your leads. You'll only remember the ones that are in the forefront. right? I used to use stickies back in the day. What a terrible solution. But I did it. I used stickies. Now what would happen if the sticky fell off and got on the floor? Then the maid would pick it up, and the janitor would pick it up and throw it away. And then I lost the lead. Like literally, I lost the lead. So a solution, if you're not using this, you're missing out. It's a missing component of your business. How many are using this? A few of you.
And actually,
You're starting, right? Yeah, okay.
and actually, not long ago, to my embarrassment, after I started to use it, I realized that, and I think I remember, I don't know if it was JD or who was, that said, if you put it in, make sure you also identify, like, start with opportunity. Make it an opportunity.
Yeah.
And you can look at it every day, and you'll see, is it in cultivating? Have I cultivated it enough?
Yeah.
So, that's one way.
Right, and you gotta move them across the
Yeah.
pipeline. The whole point is to be able to see in your pipeline, right? And so, by the way, are our brains computers? They are, right? And what happens if you have too many tabs open on your computer? It starts to run slower, doesn't it? And sometimes, I don't know about you, but mine, because I'm terrible about this, mine will even come up and say, hey, close some of your windows down so you can have some more memory and you can do stuff, right?
Yeah.
So our brains, by the way, are the exact same way. We're only able to actually hold in so much information before we begin to lose stuff, begin to forget stuff. So if you're not using the system, what will happen is that you will eventually forget about the people who maybe you haven't talked to in a couple of weeks, or maybe you slept since the last time you talked to that person, and then you don't remember them even the next day, right? So what's going to happen is you're actually giving yourself a larger capacity to have more leads by utilizing the system for a pipeline. You're increasing your capacity. I used to have the limiting belief that I didn't need a phone book or a database, or by the way, I am good with numbers, but I used to be so good that if I saw your number, Jason, one time, I could recall the phone number, and I could just dial your number. I would never input anybody into my phone or into a catalog because I would just remember the phone number. John's Pizza, 375-4407.
Rich Christ.
Vaughn Realty, 446-6551.
Wow. So if you lost your phone, no problem.
I got the phone
You-
number.
you
Well,
have-
guess what now today, in today's world? I've got those phone numbers because I used to call them back in the day. But now I don't know who anybody's phone number is.
That's true.
It comes up and says Jason Portillo, and I know that it's Jason. I don't have to know his number. I don't even know what it starts with. I don't know if it's a 661 or an 818. I have no idea. He could be from the down below, and I don't even know it. Right? So by having a system, it allows you to have more capacity to be able to do more. So if you're not utilizing the system, you're really hurting your business. Right? Okay, what are the ahas around this first section? Anything?
No
Major
leads
stuff.
left to be-
Yeah.
I woke up.
I mean, this last one, I know I need to be using the command, and I haven't been.
Oh.
It's just that when all those leads, I'm blowing it. I'm blowing it by not putting everything in command. So thank you.
You are welcome. That's great. I'm glad you are. I guess that word was for you, Ivan. That was good. 'Cause
Perfect. Thank you.
everybody in this room is like, we're bored, Drew. Move on. All right. Classify the able, ready, and willing. Here we go. Focus becomes increasingly possible in direct proportion to how clear you are about what you want, when you want it, and what you must do to get it. From the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Focus becomes increasingly possible in direct proportion to how clear you are about what you want, when you want it, and what you must do to get it. So, coming from curiosity, how do we find out if somebody's able, willing, and ready? How would you find that out before I move there? How would you find that out? You do a buyer consultation or a seller consultation. This is the most vital piece of you working with a client, Do not ever miss this step. If you don't get anything else out of this entire thing, get that. That first initial meeting, I used to call it the expectations meeting, but you guys know it as a buyer or seller consultation. You're setting the expectations. The more expectations that you can set in the beginning, the better off you are in the end. Here's a great example of something that you can utilize in your consultation. Okay, are you ready? This happened yesterday. We had a client call in who was really, really upset at our agent because they found out that the well agreement is not satisfactory for FHA financing. And 2 weeks before closing, we're not going to be able to close because the property cannot go FHA. And the contingencies were already removed. And so the seller's position is they're not going to release the deposit. And our position as the buyer is that this is a new material fact that came to be known, and the property doesn't qualify. It has nothing to do with the buyer themselves. And so this is the argument that's taking place, and we've hit an end road, right? I'm not budging, and neither is the other side. So, of course, the buyer calls me pissed off at us. And frankly, she has every right to be mad at us. We actually didn't do anything wrong. Yes, we did. What do you suppose we did wrong?
Find out the well before.
Say it again, Jason.
Remove the contingencies too soon?
No, we had what we had. We knew what we had. I mean, yes, in a perfect world, but how can we know everything? Like, the well agreement is in. You have approval from your loan officer. Can you see how that snafu might take place?
Yeah.
Like, I don't read the well agreement and know that it's satisfactory to FHA. I have to take my lender's word for it.
So the lender failed on that.
Right? So the lender, we could say the lender failed, and it was,
Yeah.
on their side, the well agreement went in to underwriting, and then when the underwriter got around to reading it, realized that it didn't meet the.
Do some wells?
That's a tough one, right? I
Do
mean,
some wells qualify?
huh?
Do some wells qualify?
Yeah, you can buy a house with a well with FHA financing. Yeah. And the house was marketed FHA. Now, here's where we failed. It had nothing to do with the well. It didn't really have anything to do with the contingencies, because in the moment, the right decision, I believe, was made. With all of the information the agent had, they made the decision that was best in that moment. I would have probably done the same thing. You don't know what you don't know, right? And we should get our deposit back because it is a new material fact. It became known, right? Now, where we made our mistake is in the expectations meeting. In the seller consultation, or the buyer consultation in this case, we didn't explain to the buyer what the deposit is and in what instance they will get it back. We also didn't explain in that consultation our role in obtaining that deposit back. The thing that she was most upset about was that I had to wash my hands of it. Those are her words, not mine. That I advised her that she was going to probably have to take the seller to small claims court. She wanted me to go continue the fight, and I said, I'm happy to continue the fight, but I'm telling you, we're nowhere. This is what we're doing right now. And by the way, I'll do that every day for you. If that's what you want me to do, I'll do it. I got no problem with that. And we're not getting anywhere. So if you actually want to make progress, go down to the courthouse and file a small claims suit. And then let the judge give you the money back, because he will. And she was furious with me and yelled and screamed at me about how we just let the whole thing flop. And so how we're just washing our hands and she's out $7,000, and I understand. We failed to communicate that this is how the deposit works. Had we done it before she was upset, she would have heard, she would have understood, and then when the time came, she would have said, yeah, okay, well, you guys said this is kind of how it works. I think it's silly. I think it sucks. By the way, I agree with her. It does. And in the state of California, it's such a litigious, is that the right word, litigious?
Yeah.
State that if I act as an attorney, we're going to get sued. By the way, they're going to win. Now we're going to get sued. But it won't go anywhere. Because we didn't do anything wrong. Either way, we're getting sued, but this way, it doesn't go anywhere. So the consultation is vital. Is vital. And in that consultation is when you're going to come from curiosity and you're going to find out if they're able, willing, and if they're able, ready, and willing. Because you're going to be asking them questions and you're going to be learning. Right? So one of the questions might even be, okay, in the last couple of years, have you had any, like, I'm not trying to get too personal with you, and I don't want to dive into your credit, but I'm just trying. I want to help you by learning a little bit more. In the last couple, 2-3 years, have you had any credit challenges? Anything come up that maybe I can help you work through before we give you to the right? And also, I want to direct you to the right lender that I know can help you the best, right? And that's when you find out. Yeah, I had a repo 2 years ago for a car. Oh, okay, good to know. All right. What steps have you taken in the last 2 years to rebuild your credit after that? I got a Capital One credit card that's secured. That's about it. Okay. What do you think your credit score is? Oh, last time I looked on Karma, Credit Karma, it was 520. Okay. Great. Okay. So, Mr. and Mrs. Byer, here's what I would suggest we do. FHA requires 580 as a minimum, and most lending institutions require 620. So we can find a bank that will do the FHA minimum of 580, and yet we're still a little off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to partner you with this loan officer over here that partners with a credit counseling company that can help you build that credit. See, now that I've learned this, I don't send them to the lender, find out they don't qualify, lose touch, they got their hopes up. Do you see? Like, the consultation helps. Or they tell me, no, we have great credit. Last time I checked, it was 784. Okay, great. All right, so tell me about money. How's our money situation look? Do we need to ask for help for closing costs? Right? I'm inquiring to find out what lender I'm going to send them to, what advice I might give, what the situation might be. I'm going to learn rather than having commission breath and simply thinking I got to get them to the contract. Let me get them to the contract. Let me get them a house. I got to sell the house, show the homes. Are you following me? So having that consultation is vital. And in there is where you're going to be curious and you're going to learn. And you're going to find the able, ready, and willing. Yes or yes? What are some other questions that you could be asking in this consultation?
Is there going to be anybody else who will influence your purchase or sale?
Is there anybody else that's going to influence the purchase?
Or the sale?
Or the sale? Okay. What else might you ask?
What happens if they don't buy right now?
What happens if you don't buy right now? That's a great question. What would happen if we waited?
For us to ask them.
Yeah. What would happen if we didn't buy right now, but we waited?
I'm gonna lose my apartment.
I'm going to lose my apartment?
Oh, okay.
The information.
Or, okay, so you might lose your apartment, but you could re-up the apartment. So, if we don't move forward, and that house that we've got our eye on is 480 today, what will it be in 3 years?
Oh, or someone that's already qualified.
Yeah,
Oh,
right. That's something you could ask. What else? What other question might you ask in a consultation? You don't know. It's a good thing we're going here. What's the best method of communication? How would you like me to contact you? What's your favorite way to communicate? By the way, if you are losing with people if you're not communicating the way that they want to be communicated with. So if you're communicating with somebody by calling them and they're annoyed by a phone call because they would rather have a text message, every time you call, you're losing a little bit. And they probably are not going to tell you. Right? If you text somebody who wants a phone call, same thing.
What time of day do you want me?
What time? Or how about this one? This is the most important one. What is your expectation around when you reach out to me that I respond to you? Because by the way, I've had somebody say immediately, when I call, I expect you to answer. Perfect. I'm glad I asked you that question, because here's the deal. You see how today I'm sitting here with you, Lena, and I'm engaged with you, and we're having a conversation. Meanwhile, over here, my phone is going off. Okay, I know what you're going to say. Yeah, so I'm going to show you the same courtesy that I'm showing all of my clients. So if I'm with someone else and the phone rings and it's you, then I'm probably not going to answer it, right? And then you're gonna either send me a text or leave me a voicemail or however it is you want to do it, and then I will get back with you. And I'm gonna tell you it's going to be 3 hours. Is that satisfactory? If you reach out to me, you'll hear back from me in 3 hours. Unless it's after 7 o'clock, it'll be the next day. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Right? And then the client's going to say yes. I've never had anybody say no. Right? Like, I guess they could. Right? They could say, no, that's not good enough. And I would say, then perhaps I'm not the realtor for you. And that's okay, because I don't want to set an expectation I can't meet. Right? What else might you ask in this consultation?
What's important to them about buying?
What's important to them about buying?
What areas?
What areas?
Bedrooms, bathrooms, needs, wants.
Build their favorite home with you right there, right? If I could wave a magic wand today and give you everything you wanted in a home, what would it be?
When you expect to move in.
When do you expect to move in?
If we were to see a house today that you like, we'd be ready to make an offer.
Yeah. Whenever we're out looking and we come across the right property that fits all the criteria that you want in the price point you want, are you ready to move forward?
Hey, Drew.
Yeah.
Ivan here. One that's really worked for me lately is just asking how are they feeling about the process? Are they nervous? Are they excited? It really sometimes they hide it really good. I don't see it until I ask it.
I like it. That's good. How do you feel about the process? Yeah. You find out if they're nervous, right? Anything else that you can think of that you want to ask during a consultation? No? It's pretty interesting. As realtors, we learn that we are usually doing other people's jobs for them. Like quite often, right? We are a project manager, and so a lot of times we find ourselves in a position where we are having to think ahead, for the lender and for the appraiser and for all the people and all the moving parts. And so one of the things that I would say to them is, I want you to know that there are 23 jobs that are created every time someone buys or sells a home. 23 jobs is what it takes for somebody to buy or sell a home. So the seller, when we talk about commission, think about all the ways in which that has to be divvied up. Number one, that's just one thing. But another thing is there's going to be a lot of moving parts. And so I want to make sure that you understand kind of how it's going to work. And so here's kind of what the process might look like. And here are the different people that you probably are going to hear from. It won't always be me. And it might not always be Robert Schaefer or Hadia. It might be their processors that call you. A loan processor's job is to process your paperwork and process the loan. So every lender has a processor, so that the loan officer can do what they do best. The process. So you might hear from the processor, and you might hear from the escrow assistant, not only the escrow officer, but you also might hear from the escrow officer. Right? I'm cluing them in. Now, if I'm talking to a seller, I might say in the appraiser, right? The appraiser is going to have to get access to the property. So the appraiser is going to call me for access. You're going to hear from me to make the appointment. The appraiser is going to be coming into your home. Yes, you can be home if you want to be. Do you want me there? You do. Okay, then I'll make sure when we make the appointment that I'm clear to be there too. What happens if I don't address that and the seller wanted me to be there with the appraiser or be there anytime anybody else is and I'm not? What happened?
Disappointed.
They're a little disappointed, right? We lose with them a little bit more.
And next time they'll remember.
So you should have a list of things that you go over in your consultation to make sure that they understand what it's going to look like. You set those expectations. Why do relationships fail? It doesn't have to be a romantic one. Friendships, romantic, business partnerships, all of them. Why do they fail?
No communication.
Unmet expectations. I have an expectation that went unmet. Now, maybe I didn't communicate it, but it went unmet. Right. So we want to try to avoid as many of those as we can. The consultation is one of the most important pieces of the entire puzzle. And today, we all have a great excuse to get them to an appointment. And that is, the law has changed, and now we have to discuss agency, and we have to have them sign a disclosure regarding agency before we can really engage. Right? All right. How do we classify in our opportunities? An A buyer or seller is able, ready, willing to do business in the next 0 to 14 days. A B buyer or seller is able, ready, willing to do business in the next 15 to 60 days. A C buyer or seller is able, ready, and willing to do business in the next 61 plus days. So in your opportunities, you can tag your contact as an A, B, or C buyer or seller. And know that this is what it means to you. They're A, that means pretty much that they're ready to go. B, they're going to be ready to go. And C, we've got some work to do. Whatever that might look like for their circumstance.
C is how many days?
I already went past it. 61 plus days.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any ahas from this segment? What are your ahas?
The importance of having a consultation beforehand and asking the right questions.
Yeah, the importance of having that consultation and asking the right questions. It's vital, you guys, and I can't, and when I first started, I was told if I had a mentor and I would do it, of course, but it looked a lot different than it would today. Today, after having experience, so I want you to be on the lookout for situations that might come up where you go, okay, I'm going to add that to my repertoire. I'm going to add that to the things that I need to make sure that I talk about because I missed it on that one, right? And there will be. There's always going to be. You're going to learn real estate is unique and the same, all at the same time. Anything else? All right, probably going to get fired after this because I'm not making any headway. Qualified buyers and sellers. All right, so what's that look like? Creating a win-win is why we qualify them. We want to document, follow a checklist, abide by the fair housing regulations. Those are the boilerplate things that I need to tell you. So that consultation meeting is what you're doing to actually qualify them. Do you have a questionnaire?
Yes.
Okay, there is one in your book, should you need it. Okay, use that, you would just simply ask them, do you mind if I take notes while we talk today? By the way, people like it when you take notes. They think that you're paying attention.
And you're really interested.
And that you're really interested in what's being said, right? So you have a buyer lead sheet. So let's take a minute. There's also a dialogue in your book. Let's take a minute, find a partner. Find a partner and go through the qualified buyer dialogue. Do you see it on your, I don't know what page your book is.
13, 6, and 7.
13.6.
There you go. Hovering over you. ahas from that little experiment? Any ahas from that little experiment?
I like the 1 to 10.
Say it again.
I like the, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you got me in quickly, 1 being you're not sure if you really want to buy.
Yeah.
And then the next part where it's asked what would make it a 10.
Yeah. What would make it a 10? Yeah, I love that question.
I'm a person that's going to buy but needs to sell first.
Okay.
How much time would you spend in the buying process before you talk to them about the sale?
Good question. When you have somebody who's got to sell to buy, how much time would you spend on the buy process? I tell you that actually, anytime I have that, I spend more time on the buy than I do the sell in the beginning. Because if they can't buy, we're hosed. Right? So I want to go through all the buyer stuff first. I want to learn all about what they want, what their expectations are around the buying. Because is the product that they want real? What if the product isn't real? Right? What if they won't qualify because credit or income has changed? What if there are a lot of what ifs. So I want to even go to as far as to getting them pre-approved before I go to. Now it doesn't mean I won't talk about the sale of the home. Of course I will, right? But I'm not gonna list the property until I know that they're pre-approved. I'm going to get all of that work done so that I don't misstep on the sale. I don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Yeah, put this out for sale and then find out that they can't buy.
Yeah. We are consultants. We are consultants, and we're there. What is your one thing as a realtor?
To take people from where they are to where they want to be through their fears and objections.
Yes. Jason Portillo. Woo! Yeah, he's been in coaching. You're late. Juan, everybody, Juan. Nice. Yeah, our objective, our one thing as a realtor is to take our clients from where they are to where they want to be through their own fears and objections. If we focus on that, the money takes care of itself. We will get paid. When we show up with commission breath, though, and we show up with just thinking about the money, we may not get paid. Because we may not be focused on them and what they actually need. And when we end up losing them as a client, or we lose the deal. We want to focus on them and what their needs are, and then we will get paid. The money will take care of itself. Every single time. What else? Any other ahas from this role play?
Come in, listen closely.
Say it again.
Listen closely.
Listen closely. So let me ask you this question. When somebody else is talking to you, are you already thinking about how you're going to respond while they're talking? Juan is like, he's got the jaw going. No, right? No way, right? Because when you're doing that, you're not actually listening to everything that they're saying and internalizing. All you're wanting to do. I have a bad time with this. I got to really be careful because I'm ready to fire. I'm ready to fire, right? And so you want to make sure. So listening carefully and closely involves not thinking about your response. In fact, if you respond to what was just said organically, and not think about what you're going to say ahead of time, your response is going to be more authentic, and they're going to feel more heard. Any other ahas? All right, communicating with your database. What's a great way we can communicate with our database? Smart plans. What's a smart plan? Systems to follow up. does everybody in here know what a smart plan is? Are you clear on that fact?
Yeah, clear.
You're not clear on what it is? A smart plan is a method, it's a system of communication with your database. It will, we call it a smart plan rather than a drip plan. Other CRMs and other companies call them drip plans because quite literally it's more about the email that gets sent to them or the text message that gets sent to them automatically. We call them smart plans because we believe that sending them an email or an automatic text message every so often is not enough. So the smart plan would involve a phone call from you directly, a text message from you directly, a birthday notification, a happy house anniversary, an invitation to a 4th of July party that you're throwing at the ranch, right? Like whatever you're doing, you can put in the smart plan so that it's doing the heavy lifting for you. So you're not having to remember to reach out to all these people all the time. Instead, you can know. Now, where do smart plans live? In command, right? And how would we put together a smart plan?
Sometimes you don't have
Like
to.
in command?
You don't even have to, do you, Nick? You don't even have to.
Why?
Because they're already in.
But
Thousands of smart plans are already created across the country in the library that you can use. Because Keller Williams is a company of collaboration. And so when an agent or a coach or a team leader puts together a smart plan, they have the option of sharing it in the network. So when you dive in, when you log into your command, you scroll down to Smart Plans on the left-hand toolbar, and you click on Smart Plans and you click on Library. First two things are going to come up. It's going to be My Plans and Library, and you click on Library, and that's going to open up a whole plethora of different smart plans that you can implement into your own database. And you can edit and you can change those smart plans to make it your own. In fact, please do. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so you know what a smart plan is. Now, how many of us are using them? Okay, so I want you to notice something. And I'm not picking on anybody, like to pick on you. I just want you to see, I just want you to understand and see a direct correlation between production and the use of the tools. The 3 people that raised their hands, right? Did I miss anybody? It was 3 people, right, that raised their hands? Okay.
I'm just getting started, that's why. But I definitely, I sit down.
Good, so this is even better. This is even better, so now you can see the importance, right? So, who in the room has closed more than 5 deals this year? Now, is there a direct correlation between those that are using the smart plans and command and the production?
Yes.
There is. So that's the purpose of that. All right, I don't want to pick on those of you that are not, or you're brand new. Now you know, you understand the importance of this, right? You have the 19 to connect, or the 36 to convert, or the 1 to submit. These are some of the items that you can utilize in your database. Okay. Let's talk about qualifying our sellers. We have a pre-listing questionnaire. How many of you use a pre-listing questionnaire? Isn't it interesting? It's just so interesting, right? It's so interesting. So, you know, I've been in real estate for 25 years, and I've only been with Keller Williams for 8 years. And in the old company that I was a part of, producers were very nervous. In fact, they would lock their door of their office. Now, for different reasons than why we would lock our doors. We lock our doors for security. They lock their doors because they don't want anybody coming in to get their secrets or their clients. Very scarce scarce mindset in a lot of other companies. I've been a part of 3 companies and KW, and I can tell you that the scarcity is in all of the companies and more so in others. And one of the things that was an aha for me way back in the day is as I was teaching and mentoring others, I realized I could give. What's your favorite restaurant? Somebody give me a restaurant.
Jamie?
Favorite restaurant?
Some favorite restaurant.
Din Tai. Big T.
What is it?
Din Tai.
Okay. What's a dish that you love?
Dumplings.
Curry
dum-
pot.
Now, what if, and I don't know, this might not set right, but what if you went to the restaurant owner and you said, I want the recipe, and I want you to teach me how to make them so that I can make them on my own. Well, he'd say no. He'd say no way, right? Say no way. So in KW, why is it that we are so free to share with you our recipes? Because do we? Was Tom Paul in here on Monday sharing you his secrets?
Yeah.
Was Garrett Rowe in here earlier this week sharing his secrets?
Yeah.
Was Leslie Goen?
Yeah.
All Tiffany George?
Yeah.
Nico Estrada is tomorrow? Brandon Illick? All these people who produce and sell homes in here sharing their secrets, their recipes, teaching you how to make the dumplings. What do you suppose is the reason?
They want to share.
They know it's business for everybody.
There's enough business for everybody. They want to share because they have a mind of abundance. That we realize that there's enough business for all of us. And there's a secondary reason.
Because not everybody's going to do it.
You won't do it.
That's right.
You won't do it. The chef's coming over, sitting in front of you, teaching you how to make the dumplings. You got it all situated, right? And then you go home and you don't do it. Instead, you call the shop and order the dumplings.
They're frozen.
Right?
That's true.
It's so true. So you don't even need to worry about whether or not you share the secrets. Give them the whole recipe. I don't know, maybe you might make the dumplings. But it's interesting as we stand up here and we talk about the different things to do, you know, that all these producers are giving you the secret sauce. And how many of you will actually implement these things and go back and actually put them into practice? I urge you to do so. And if you need help, you have a leadership team that is here to help you put these things into practice. And if you're not sure where to start, how to get going, all of that. Let's see if we have the text yet on the market. We do. Yes. We do. Okay. Here we are. Good morning. Some have, I'm sure, woke up this morning happily, wringing their hands on what is to come later today. I'm certainly one of them. It's been a long time, and the tunnel has been dark, but the light appears to be even brighter. All the action starts at 11:30 this morning, our time. Okay, so we won't know yet. Followed by the Fed Chair Powell's comments right after. I suspect that Powell will take an optimistic stance, cautioning that he still has the reins held tightly. As I mentioned in the last few updates, I think that regardless of whether the cut is a quarter or a half point, rates will be working their way lower, despite any initial reactions in the market. Even if Powell seems conservative and hardline in his comments, and markets will likely overlook most of that. Might be just me, but I truly believe, aside from all the market prognosticators, Robert's got a pretty good vocabulary, out there giving us data, market candlesticks, etc., that this story and its happy ending have already been written. Robert Schaefer, Fairway Mortgage. All right. are you guys using a listing questionnaire, seller questionnaire?
Yeah.
You are? Okay. Do you want to practice the seller questionnaire like you did the buyer questionnaire, or do you think you've got it, or what do you want to do? Huh? Practice it?
And this is a pre-listing.
Yeah, for the seller. Okay, Juan,
Yes.
will you come up and meet with this gentleman? Jason. Okay, come up and meet with Jason. Partner up, and we're going to go back into role play land. We're going to qualify the seller.
presentation so that you can get more familiarized with your seller.
You can what?
You get more familiarized with your seller, knowing a little bit more before you get there.
You can get to know your seller more before you even get to the point where you're, okay. What else?
I think it always saves time during your presentation, like, you know, all these things ahead, you know what you're gonna be preparing for.
Okay. What else?
Setting expectations.
Setting expectations is vital. What else?
You have a better idea if they're come list me or if it's more of a consult.
Yeah, right. Okay. Why is that helpful?
Because it sets you up to, see how serious the seller is about telling them.
Then you know how to prepare, you know how to show up.
Right.
Anything else? Any other ahas? Okay, what about when you run up against a seller who is not ready to sell? You have the consultation, and then through that consultation, you realize that they're not ready to sell, just like the buyer. Then we have an opportunity where we can put them on a smart plan to communicate with them regularly and nurture them until we can move them from a C to a B
And eventually to an A.
to an A, right? Because an A is what?
Ready, able, and willing.
It's able, ready, willing in the next 15 days. What's a B? 16, right? And then what's the C? 61 plus, right? All right, lead follow-up plan. We want to follow up, convert, stay top of mind, qualify buyers and sellers. So, this doesn't happen. Conversion doesn't happen unless we do follow-up. You must do the follow-up in order to have the conversion. You won't have the conversion unless you stay top of mind. And you stay top of mind by doing the follow-up. Right? All of this comes back to making sure that no child is left behind. No lead is left behind. No lead is left behind. How often should you reach out to them?
Quarterly.
It depends on whether they're an A, a B, or a C. So how often would you stay in touch with an A?
Every day.
Only the ones that end in Y.
Only the days that end in one.
Only the days that end in Y. Those are the only days that you follow up with an A. No other day other than the ones that end in Y.
What's the meaning with the line? What's that mean?
Well, I mean, you've got Sunday. You got Monday. You got Tuesday. You got Wednesday. You got Thursday. You got Friday. You got Saturday. They all end with Y. Every day.
I thought the wine is the drinking the wine.
Oh,
So to her credit, to Lena's credit, she knows me. She knows me, and she knows that vino is a part of my life. And so, and I don't drink it every day. Only the days that end in Y. No. All right. So, what are our overall ahas from qualifying buyers and sellers? Did you learn anything today?
Yes.
What'd you learn?
No leads left behind.
No leads left behind. What else?
The importance of the qualifications for buyers and sellers and ranking them.
The importance of the qualifications for the buyer sellers and rating them. Yes. Going over the expectations. It's vital. If you miss that step, it ain't no good. It ain't no good. Every time I have missed that, I have regretted it. And I mean every single time, including my sister-in-law. I sold my sister-in-law and her wife a home. So I sold their home, and I sold them a new home. And the selling was great, because what we do, we drove down, me and the family, we drove down, we had dinner, we had margaritas, and she worked at the Budweiser plant. She had big Foster beers, and we had some brewskis with brewski, and we did the expectations. We just had fun doing it, but we had the expectations conversation at the house over dinner, right? And then listed the property for sale, and that went smoothly. Well, in the buying side, I didn't do that. I skipped it. I don't know why, but I did. I skipped it. And sure enough, we had some road bumps, and there was some upsetness. Now, it's okay, upsetness. Yeah. Yeah. Expectations were not met, because I didn't sit down and have the meeting. And why wouldn't I? We have a great time. Maybe I took it for granted. And that's happened before too with other people. And every time that happens, something happens to where there's a bump in the road with somebody's expectation when I'm mad and there's some upsetness. Yeah. Yeah. That's what every guy wants to hear. How cute. It makes me upsetness. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. What else? What other ahas did you get? What else did you learn today?
You gotta follow up to convert.
You gotta follow up to convert, baby.
And which ones to follow closely, which ones you know, not to waste your time on ones that are not going to act now or within the next 6 days.
What else? hours and that's all there is? The powers to be are listening. You want me to lose my job when I walk out of here? You taught them nothing.
You know, get in the habit of doing the same thing all the time.
Get in the right habit.
In the right habit.
Get in the right habit.
Oh, active listening. Always.
Active listening. 100% active listening.
Smart plan.
Smart plans. Smart plans. Thank you. I think you just saved my job. Thank you. All right. So tomorrow you're going to be with Nico Estrada. Tomorrow, I'll give you that chance. Tomorrow you're going to be with Nico Estrada. And you're going to be learning how to win the buyer. So now you've qualified the seller and the buyer, and now you're going to learn to win the buyer. And then now you're going to enter into a wonderful time of lead generation. Right? Because Ignite is not just about the curriculum that you learn, it's also about implementation and taking the steps to better your business. Yes or yes?
Yes.
All right, so we're going to start with, are you guys doing the successes, please?
Of course.
Of course you are. All right, how many of your 10 conversations, how many of you got them?
Oh, yeah.
You had 10 conversations?
Oh, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Today.
Oh,
I
today.
have-
Today.
All right, all right.
Yeah.
All right. What about your contacts added? Did you add your contacts? You have been. Okay. I heard a rumor that you're on the team now. Is this right?
I think so.
Awesome. That's great. You think so?
I haven't signed anything yet, so.
Oh my heavens. Maybe you ought to get to work on signing something. Right? That's not held up by you. Okay. Yeah. All right. What about your handwritten notes? You haven't done the handwritten notes. You know what's interesting is the recipe for the dumplings have been given to you. Are you making the dumplings at home?
Oh, I do.
What? And I drink the wine too, right? Yeah, that's good. That's good. And you know, here's the sphere of influence and the people in your leads, people you come in contact with. How many of you receive handwritten notes in the mail to this day? It's a little bit, sometimes, it's a little bit rare. It's a little bit rare. It used to be, you guys remember back in the day, some of you are too young for this, but back in the day when we would have so many Christmas cards that we'd actually have to put them somewhere in the house.
Yeah.
Right? My wife puts a piece of garland or 3 or 4 rows of garland to put all the Christmas cards. Guess how many we got last year?
3.
3. And we used to get 100. Right? Now it's a text, Merry Christmas, I spend my whole Christmas morning. Set that bad boy up on Twilio and call it a day, right? So the handwritten notes, if you're not doing it, it's like you're missing the main ingredient for the dumplings. And how will the dumplings turn out if you don't put the main ingredient in?
Yeah. We need the secret soy sauce.
Secret soy sauce. Okay, now let's translate that into real estate. Handwritten notes. That's the Chinese secret soy sauce. Is the handwritten notes. Now, what about your 10-5-1 social media engagement? Are you doing that?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Well, tell me what that even means. I don't know what it means. I'm new here. I don't know what it means.
10 likes, 5 comments,
1 direct message. Okay. All right. Can I add one in there?
Sure.
Make a phone call. Okay, let me add 2 things. Make a phone call, and then how about in connecting with someone new? Adding a friend. Connecting with someone new every day. What if you connect with someone new every day? Did that help?
Yes.
Did that change your sphere and widen your sphere? Okay. What's an enrichment? Preview open houses. Right, you guys seem lost. Are you not doing this? The enrichments? You're not doing them?
I got proof.
You guys are like, look, walking and going, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I can feel the energy in the room.
Right.
What are we supposed to do? I don't know.
Right.
All right. Okay, you got to be careful with the do not call list and cover all the TCPA guidelines. Okay. All right, you ready? 1, 2, 3. I engage every conversation in the spirit of competition, and people are actually in a relationship with me. Everybody stand to your feet. Everybody stand to your feet. Shake out your arms and your legs. We're going to open up those diaphragms and we're going to say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. I engage every conversation in the spirit of competition, and people are happy to be in a relationship with me. So now go do it. That doesn't mean you leave the room. It means you start calling.
So they asked me if you had a window closed between Andrew and Natalie. If you had a few minutes.
Bye, daughter.
Yeah, tomorrow. Today is
sign everything.
Okay.
And then they
Are
sign
you
the
going
cell
to
as well. You just put
stay,
the date
and
right
do we
there.
have
It tells you
mass? No, not
property
today.
to be
Oh, okay.
active.
Okay, we can leave. We can
April
leave. I have a
2025. I
appointment.
don't know, 20.
I have a doctor.
Now, like I said, they're still working on the house, they're still fixing it. Should I do that after, and then get photos? Once, oh, it looks pretty, so. Not sure.
I would.
See you
Do you know when they're going to be done with all the repairs or the upgrades? I would check in
Very
periodically
well.
just to
Keep
be like,
learning
hey, I want to drop by and see how
and
everything's going.
doing and take your time.
And then
Not
when they're
to
done,
hurry.
even if they're
Just,
done now or
not in
you know,
rush.
whatever, take the
Foundation,
contract.
not
Be like,
rush. If you
hey
rush,
guys,
you earn
if
money
I'm
right
contract
away.
with me, I know
A
we're
lot
not
of things you don't know yet.
listing until April.
You were
But
messed
I
up.
have this
You
form
go
that
out.
allows me
Oh
to
my God.
market it
But
actively by
foundation,
word of mouth with all
foundation.
my colleagues
Yes,
and have them
sir.
pull the buyers ready for you
Okay,
when
thank
April
you.
comes.
See you
Getting some
tomorrow.
more exposure that you guys want, right? Boom. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, ideally you would have wanted to do it right when you met with them, but I'm sure they'll be fine with it. If they know I can trust you, you should be good. Yeah. But let me know if you need anything, bro. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Man, what you got going on today?
Not much. Well, I have to go to the gym, so there's that.
What time you go?
I'm trying to go earlier in the day. So probably within a few hours from now.
Okay.
Because it's like later on. My leg is so hard to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I actually had to go to GNC again to sleep.
Really? Oh, you're not close to me? I have issues sleeping. Yeah, the opposite. Yeah, opposite issues.
Well, that's scarier.
Yeah.
Especially when you're driving, that's scary.
Yep. Yeah. Falling asleep before.
That's happened to me when I was driving out of San Diego once. It was just super scary. They had like, you know, those rain energy drinks.
Yeah. Really? Did it hit fast enough or what? That happened to me when I used to work in Van Nuys, in the warehouse out there. The commute back, and then I had the early shift, so I was sleep like a couple hours maybe. And I actually fell asleep on the wheel and hit someone. It was a small fender bender, but even then I was like, damn, I gotta wake up. That's scary. Yeah, it's only time. Well, not too long ago, I swerved. But yeah, anyways. Cool, bro. Let me know if you need anything, or if you make calls and you get an objection.
No.
What's up, big dog?
Just see what's up, yeah. Thank you for the paperwork. Thank you.
What?
Thank you for helping me with the paperwork.
Oh, for sure, bro. Anytime, man. All right, bye, Zoom. We'll see y'all later.